Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. And so, this person is one of, as I mentioned, is one of 7 million people who is four in the United States, and this is, the in the current standard of care. Out of those 7 million, somewhere around 5 to 6 million of them would have developed Alzheimer's disease, because the majority will develop Alzheimer's. Now, I mean, virtually zero should develop. If we get them all to come in early, get on appropriate prevention, or get them when they have SCI at the worst, then there should be very, very few who ever get this. And so let me just jump on the soapbox for one moment again, because this is something that comes up again and again and again with people coming in with MoCA scores of 5 and 10 and things like that. And we always recommend, please get the family members on for prevention. So by the time you get Alzheimer's disease, so you look at 4 stages. You've gone through number 1, which is the pre-symptomatic phase, which may last several years, where your PET scan will be abnormal, your spinal fluid will be abnormal, but you won't have symptoms at that time. And in someone with ApoE44, that may occur in your 20s. Then the second stage, which lasts about 10 years on average, according to the epidemiologists, is SCI. And again, these people are completely treatable. The vast majority of them do very, very well. These are people who are still scoring in the normal range on cognitive tests, but clearly know that something has changed. And so again, that's the latest you want. That's phase 2. Step 3, or phase 3, is MCI, mild cognitive impairment. And it's too bad it's called mild cognitive impairment, because that allows doctors to send people home and say, this is what you have, is just mild cognitive impairment. What it should be called is advanced stage Alzheimer's disease. It's the third of the 4 phases. And I realize that scares people, but it makes sure that it gets the people on treatment early. Again, MCI is like saying mildly metastatic cancer. It's a late stage of the process. And then the final phase 4 is what we call Alzheimer's disease, where you're actually losing activities of daily living. And that's, most doctors now are focusing on the 4th stage, and in some cases the 3rd stage, when we should all be focusing on stage 1 and stage 2, because that's when it's so much that can be done. And again, these are still relatively late in the process. This is going on for 20 years. When you have MCI, 5 to 10% of the patients will convert to Alzheimer's disease, which means they're beginning to lose their activities of daily living each year. So part of the problem here is that we as physicians and researchers have focused on this disease way, way too late. It's as if you didn't call it cancer until it was widely metastatic. What a horrible way to go. So with this person, I encourage you, you're saving this person's life, Dr. Pichardo, because she's someone who would, in all likelihood, get Alzheimer's disease later in life. So please
And
keep
the other
optimizing.
thing about an ApoE44, and I see plenty of individuals who are homozygous 44 carriers who haven't told their biological offspring. And I really encourage them to let them know. They feel like it's they don't want to upset them, they don't want to worry them, they want them to go ahead and enjoy their happy life. But the kinds of changes that you can make in your late 20s, 30s, and 40s can make a huge difference in your outcome when you're 65 up to 90, right? So I think it really is helpful to let people know and get people started on pre-code on all the things you can do for prevention if you're an ApoE44 carrier, or just carry one ApoE44. Have your children tested if they're adults,
right?
And have them start their own educational process about this disease and how to prevent it.
That's a great point. And the claim has always been that since there's nothing you can do about it, then just don't find out. Well, we now know that there's a tremendous amount of hope. This is not a hopeless situation at all. And in fact, if you go on appropriate prevention or early reversal, virtually nobody needs to progress to dementia. So, and I've asked a number of practitioners, and so I would throw it out for anyone. If you have someone who's gone on prevention when they're scoring well and they're truly asymptomatic, and despite good adherence, they actually develop dementia, please let me know. I haven't heard about a single example where someone has done that. And maybe, 10, 20 years from now, maybe we'll see someone. But I haven't heard of anyone who's gone on and again been compliant, done appropriate prevention, started when truly doing prevention, not already very symptomatic, and who has progressed. So this should be something that should be very, very rare.